disentangle when my cell phone started playing a muted rendition of Black Magic Woman. Work. Thank God. I gently lifted Eli's arm and rolled out of bed, hurrying over to my jeans, which had somehow gotten thrown over the mirror on top of his dresser. Luckily, my cell phone had clung to the pocket, and I grabbed it and flipped it open. Yes, my phone still flips. It is also not smart. Kirsten's voice was cheerful and apologetic, as usual, directing me to a vacant house in Calabasas where a young realtor and her two friends had been playing with love spells. I picked up the men's wallet I keep in my front pocket and pulled on the jeans and purple top I'd worn to the bar. Then I grabbed my keys and my knee-high boots and tiptoed out. I didn't leave a note. He would figure it out when I got to the door anyway. Whenever I'm not around, Eli has to go back to being a werewolf. I hadn't felt drunk when I followed Eli's pickup truck back to his place, but it still took me a few tries to find my van, which I guess is what happens when you drive after 2 glasses of whiskey. On the way to Calabasas, I used the stoplights to put on my boots and pull back the tangled mass of my long, near-black hair. Even in LA, the streets were nearly deserted, and I had that creepy sensation that city people get when there's no one around. Like maybe everyone else in the world has died or left without your knowledge. Before I had to go too far into that pleasant line of thinking, though, the lady in my GPS announced that I'd arrived at my destination. I pulled into the driveway of a rain-cloud-gray McMansion, and the witches, I use that term loosely, opened the garage door and waved for me to pull the van right in. They were nearly identical. All blonde, all scared, and all wearing some slight variation of light sleeveless sweaters and what my mother used to call slacks. I would not have been able to pick them out of a lineup. "Ms. Bernard," said the blonde on the right, stepping forward. "I'm Sarah Ann Harris. Thank you so much for coming." "Not a problem," I said briskly. I slid open the van's side door and grabbed my work duffel. "Tell me what's happening." Sarah Ann Harris glanced at her two friends who looked away. Well, we were trying this spell, because Hillary's boyfriend keeps cheating and we wanted him to fall in love with her alone for forever." She headed into the house, walking backward like a tour guide, and I followed her, with the generic blondes trailing behind us like a limp parade. Because there's such a diverse collection of talents, I never know what I'm going to get on any given witch case, but the silent line of expensive highlights was a little unnerving. "There was this sacrifice part." "Chicken or dove?" I interrupted. Dove. But then we couldn't go through with killing it because Ashley's in PETA," she babbled. Hillary and Ashley? Seriously? Worst witch names ever. "And we were gonna just set it free, and then something happened." We rounded a corner, entering a spacious dining/living area with no furniture. I eyed the polished hardwood floors first and decided I didn't need to bother with surgical booties. At the far end, glass double doors opened onto a 3 Seasons porch where I could see candles and books spread on the floor. As we came closer, I spotted a panicked little gray dove hopping frantically about in the doorway, and it took me a second to figure out what the big deal was. Is its head on backward? That was a new one, even for me. "Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. We think maybe the pages got stuck in the spell book, and we did some kind of healing spell instead, only it didn't heal," Sarah Ann said. "So, if you go near it, the dove's head will go back, right?" She looked like she was about to cry. God. "No," I said grimly. I strode across the room, my boot heels striking the polished wooden floors like a timpani drum, dropped my bag, and bent down to pick up the terrified little thing. It cuddled into my chest for a moment, looking at my face with its backward-facing eyes. I took a deep breath and snapped its neck with my other hand. Ick. But at least its head was now facing the correct direction. When I looked up, Sarah Ann and the clones were staring at me like I'd just stabbed a preschooler. "But," Sarah Ann said in the reasonable, patronizing voice of a woman who's used to getting the window booth, "we called for you. Kirsten said to call when something..."